Hi guys! Today I want to give you a quick overview of how I created this interactive animation using Rive. It's based on my last concept where I created category cards with 3D furniture images. I started by asking ChatGPT to turn a real wardrobe photo in 3D icon style image. The first result was too stylized. Not really my style of raster that I use, so I asked it to stay closer to original. Realistic proportions, same number of sections, but still like 3D icon friendly. Eventually, I got a version I liked, and I made a few more tweaks with prompts, like removing the legs, opening the left section with hanger, and adding some shirts. In the end, I used two variations. One with shirts and one without. I used version without shirts as my base and flipped it horizontally. Here's how I broke wardrobe image into layers. The right hanger section is static without changing. Lower drawers, separate layers so I can stretch them. Texture drawer and lower base, both will be hidden during animation. Left door and upper base cut together. Left wall separate for position and perspective changes. Since I wanted shirts to appear-disappear in animation, I cut first shirt out from second image and placed it over the first. I used just one, then duplicated into 3 layers later in Rive. I exported everything as PNG, compressed images, and imported them into Rive. To detect mouse hover and trigger animation, I added transparent rectangle over image. To change width on timelines, I used a mix of meshes and masks. Let's walk through the setup. Lower drawers use meshes to stretch across minimal width. Super simple and clean. I also added line that is the same color as the theme to help avoid distortion. I didn't change it on timeline, just static. For the left door, I used mask instead of mesh because mesh distorts shape too much and didn't look good. I just keyframe masks width to hide and reveal door. The left wall also shifts with door and used meshes. I locked the top and bottom edges with vertices, so I adjust meshes of center section a bit to keep seam aligned. It stretches smoothly without breaking perspective. I didn't animate lower base and corrugated drawer. It just hides under mask. Again, meshes added visual defects, so I skipped it. The right side is static. I placed shirt image in the hanger area. For the shirt movement, I created separate timeline overlaid with meshes. I only framed the left part and sleeve, and on the timeline, I added subtle motion to mimic the feel of fabric gently swaying. Since these are small icons, I didn't go too deep with fabric physics, but if you are working on a larger animation, you can refine it more. To save time, I created meshes for just one shirt, then duplicated it twice and spaced them evenly across the hanger in design mode. I slightly offset their keyframes so they don't all animate at the same time, just to add a bit of natural variation and flow. For the first shirt, I also created mask so it slightly slides in from the right, timed appearing with wardrobe animation by shifting keyframes on the main timeline. That way, everything feels connected and not too linear. Under shirts, I created a group of shadows for each shirt and one large shadow for the entire back wall. Each shadow has a gradient and blur. On the timeline where I animate the wardrobe width, I also control the opacity of this shadow group. It fades in and out depending on state. To create logic in state machine, I prepared 3 timelines with wardrobe. Forward timeline, where I created wardrobe resizing. Back, reversed version that brings everything back. I duplicated forward timeline and reversed it using playback speed. Idle, just initial frame of the illustration. I duplicated timeline again and leave only first keyframes here. In state machine, I added Boolean input to switch conditions when hover is active. I set it up like this. From idle to forward timeline, Boolean hover is true. From forward to back, set value false. From back to forward, Boolean with value true again. No need to go to idle timeline. Use only once for entry. For shorts, I duplicate timeline too. I didn't reverse playback because I actually liked how they disappeared naturally. Didn't need to over-control it. I connected them in state machine using same Boolean. From entry, I set Boolean with value true, and between two timelines, I used same way, true and false values. To make animation interactive with hover, I added two listeners with target that is transparent layer. One has pointer enter action, sets the Boolean to true, and one has pointer exit, sets it back to false. So when your mouse hover over illustration, forward animation plays. When you move your mouse out, wardrobe resets back to its original states. That's it. Happy to share this breakdown. Thanks for watching.